Story 2: Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Once upon a time, when the universe was still empty and chaotic, God created a perfect place, a wondrous garden that would later be called the Garden of Eden. This was not just an ordinary piece of land, it was a vibrant masterpiece, where nature and all living creatures coexisted in perfect harmony. Birds sang joyfully from the treetops, their clear, melodious songs resonating like a cheerful symphony, filling the still air with life. Flowers bloomed in a dazzling array of colors, pure white, bright yellow, deep red, and dreamy purple, releasing a sweet fragrance that spread throughout the garden. Carried gently by every passing breeze, infusing the air with the essence of life, crystal clear streams gurgled over lush green meadows, winding gracefully around ancient tree trunks, producing cheerful, rhythmic sounds, as if inviting all living beings to join in the vibrant pulse of nature. In the heart of this magnificent garden, God created the first human, Adam. Adam stood in this entirely new world, breathing in the fresh, clean air, feeling the gentle caress of the wind on his skin, listening to the rustle of leaves, the songs of birds, the murmur of flowing streams, and savoring the sweet aromas drifting from the grass and trees. His heart overflowed with joy, awe, and boundless gratitude. This was more than just a garden, it was a foundation of love, life, and harmony between humanity and nature. Everything in this paradise, from the radiant morning sunlight streaming through the treetops to the cool, soothing shadows beneath ancient trees, was perfect, balanced, and ready to welcome the first steps of humankind. Adam walked, explored, and absorbed the life pulsing all around him in the Garden of Eden, a place where everything was in harmony and brimming with the beauty that God had so meticulously created. But God saw that Adam, the first human, although living in the perfect garden, was still missing something important. In his heart, Adam needed a companion, a perfect other to share his joys, fears, and the responsibility of taking care of the Garden of Eden. God wanted Adam not only to have creatures around him to admire, but also a soul in harmony, understanding and loving him, so that together they could experience the wonder and overflowing beauty of the garden. With infinite power and love, God took a part of Adam's rib, and from it, he shaped Eve. She was not only beautiful, but also gentle, intelligent, and full of love. Her every gesture, her every look contained purity and softness, making the surrounding space seem to shine brighter. Eve stepped out, gentle and graceful like the spring breeze, carrying the natural fragrance of flowers and grass, making the whole garden vibrate with the newly added joy. When Adam saw Eve for the first time, a deep joy filled his heart. His eyes lit up with surprise, his heart filled with gratitude, and a smile never left his lips. They looked at each other, as two souls in harmony recognized each other's existence, one for each other and for each other. More than just the appearance of a companion, Eve was also a symbol of love, connection, and human perfection. Adam and Eve walked together in the garden, hand in hand, exploring every corner, from the clear streams, the lush green lawns, to the colorful flower gardens. They picked fruit together, listened to the birdsong, watched the light shining through the leaves, and felt the abundance of life all around them. Every step they took was a rhythm of life in harmony. Every smile and word spread love. They learned to care for the plants, nurture all the animals, and feel every magical moment that God gave them. In the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve were more than just two creatures living in a garden. They were symbols of love, communion, and harmony between humans and nature, a place where joys and responsibilities were fully shared, and where every moment contained the beauty and miracle of life. They lived in a world filled with joy and peace, where there was no more worry, no more fear. Every day in the Garden of Eden was a happy day. As Adam and Eve woke up to the bright morning light, heard the birds singing in the trees, and breathed the fresh, sweet air that wafted from the grass and flowers, everything in the garden seemed to exist to serve them. The ripe, sweet fruits hanging from the branches, the cool, flowing stream, the clear water reflecting the trees and flowers, inviting them to bathe and rest. The birds sang endlessly, creating a natural music, full of rhythm and lively sound. God gave them absolute freedom, a precious gift they had never experienced before. They could go anywhere in the garden, explore every corner, see every creature, and feel the abundance of life all around them. They were free to enjoy everything God had given them, from the fragrance of flowers, the sweetness of fruit, to the coolness of a stream. That freedom was not just the right to move around or enjoy nature. but also the right to choose good, to choose evil, to choose how to behave and learn from their own decisions. However, along with freedom, God gave them an important warning, not to eat the fruit from the tree of knowledge, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. He reminded them that if they ate, they would understand the difference between good and evil, and suffer severe consequences, something they had never experienced. That warning was not just a rule, but also the first lesson in responsibility, choice and consequences. It laid the foundation for human consciousness, maturity and responsible freedom. In every moment, Adam and Eve lived in joy, happiness, and curiosity about the world around them. They felt every beat of life in the garden, the rustling of leaves, the babbling of streams, the scent of orchids, the light shining through the trees, all blending into a vivid and magical picture, where love, freedom and life coexist. This is where they learn to live, love and cherish all that God has given them, between freedom and the sacred warning of their own responsibilities. But not long after, the first challenge appeared, subtle yet powerful, like a gentle wind slipping into the perfect garden. The serpent, a creature both clever and cunning, slithered gracefully among the leaves, its eyes glinting with intelligence and its body twisting with a quiet, mesmerizing rhythm. Observing every detail of the Garden of Eden, it did not rush or strike, but approached Eve with a smooth, almost hypnotic stealth, making it difficult for her to sense the danger that was drawing near. The serpent whispered, its voice soft yet persuasive, weaving words that stirred doubt and curiosity deep within her mind. "Eve," it said, the sound floating like a gentle breeze through the trees, "if you eat this fruit, you will become like God. You will know good and evil, see all the secrets that no one has ever known, and that power will be yours." The words pierced Eve's heart, seductive yet disorienting. Before her lay the fruit she had never seen, its skin glossy and vibrant, colors bright and inviting, emitting a sweet, intoxicating fragrance. Sunlight streaming through the leaves made it glimmer as if it were alive. She studied it closely, inhaling its aroma, and a surge of curiosity and desire for knowledge awakened within her. The longing to understand, to discover something new, gradually overshadowed the cautionary words God had given. In Eve's heart, innocence mingled with curiosity, and prudence was slowly eclipsed by the fruit's allure. She felt an invisible force calling her, as if the fruit contained not only sweetness but also a mystery, a world that one touch could change her forever. The sensation left her both fearful and eager, her eyes bright with wonder, her hand reaching lightly toward the fruit. In that moment, she stood on the threshold of choice, between innocence and temptation, between obedience and the desire for understanding. This was the first moment in human history when a person faced temptation, when curiosity and the thirst for knowledge began to creep into the heart of humanity. It marked the beginning of a new chapter, filled with challenges and profound consequences, not only for Eve and Adam but for the entire Garden of Eden that God had created. A world that was perfect yet poised on the brink of change. Seeing Eve take the fruit, Adam felt a mixture of wonder and concern. His heart ached with love for her, yet he was drawn to the same curiosity that had awakened within her. Slowly, almost hesitantly, he reached out and took the fruit from her hand. In that instant, a new awareness began to stir within him. He too felt a surge of understanding, a sudden clarity that was both thrilling and terrifying. The innocence that had wrapped him in comfort vanished, replaced by the weight of knowledge, the understanding of good and evil, of choice and consequence. As the fruit passed his lips, the world seemed to change around him. The vibrant garden that had once seemed endless and safe now appeared different. Shadows stretching longer, colors sharper, and every sound more distinct. Adam's heart pounded in a mixture of awe and fear. The animals he had once regarded as companions now seemed to observe him with a strange intensity. Even the trees and flowers appeared to shimmer with a new consciousness. As if, when God came to the garden, his presence filled every corner with light and majesty. But he immediately noticed that something had changed. Adam and Eve, his first children, were hiding, trembling behind leaves and branches, their hearts heavy with fear and shame, the first such emotions they had ever experienced. They sensed a profound difference. The happiness and freedom they had known was now overshadowed by a sense of guilt, an awareness that they had disobeyed God's command. In their eyes was panic, unfamiliar fear, and deep remorse. This was the first moment in human history when humanity realized the consequences of its own choices, when innocence gave way to the awareness of good and evil. God looked upon them with eyes that were at once stern and filled with love. His voice echoed like thunder through the stillness of the garden. They would have to leave the Garden of Eden, the place of joy, life, and perfect harmony. From now on, humanity would face labor, to work for survival, pain, to experience loss and difficulty, and death, the ultimate destiny they had never known. Their disobedience had set in motion a chain of consequences that could not be avoided. A lesson in freedom intertwined with responsibility. Adam and Eve lowered their heads, feeling sorrow seep into every step, into every breath. The garden, once a paradise of abundance and wonder, now seemed foreign, a place filled with loss and longing. They were learning that freedom was not merely the power to do whatever one wished, but a gift that carried weight, responsibility, and consequence. Every action, every choice held meaning, and mistakes could lead to suffering. This was the first lesson of temptation and sin, showing humans that they must live with the outcomes of their decisions, yet also revealing God's unconditional love. He still watched over them, still hoped they would learn, grow, and find their way back to Him. The lesson was etched deeply into the human heart. Freedom always comes with responsibility, and every action creates consequences, a truth that would guide humanity throughout its journey. In that moment, Adam and Eve understood that life was a path of learning and growth, of making choices and facing the results. A path where love, responsibility, and the awareness of good and evil would shape the destiny of humankind. Although Adam and Eve had to leave the Garden of Eden, they did not lose hope. The world outside was vast and unfamiliar, filled with challenges, toil, and uncertainty. Yet within their hearts, they carried the lessons they had learned in the paradise that had nurtured them. They now understood the delicate balance between freedom and responsibility, the weight of choices, and the consequences that follow. Every step they took was guided by the awareness of right and wrong, a knowledge both humbling and enlightening, and a reminder that life was a journey of learning and growth. Hand in hand, they faced the new world together. The innocence they once possessed had been tempered by experience, but this experience brought wisdom, compassion, and a deeper understanding of love. They knew now that love was not only joy and companionship but also commitment, care, and the willingness to endure hardships for one another. The bond between Adam and Eve strengthened as they navigated the challenges before them, finding solace in their shared purpose and in the lessons taught by both joy and suffering. God did not abandon them. Though they had left the paradise He had created, His presence remained a guiding force, a quiet reassurance that they were never truly alone. In the midst of uncertainty and struggle, God's love was constant, encouraging them to persevere, to nurture life, and to seek harmony with the world around them. He had given them the gift of choice, the freedom to act with wisdom, courage, and kindness, a gift that would shape the destiny of humanity. This story, though it begins with innocence, temptation, and regret, also speaks of hope and redemption. It reminds us that even when mistakes are made, even when the consequences are difficult, the love of God endures. It is a love that forgives, guides, and inspires humans to grow, to care for one another, and to honor the responsibilities entrusted to them. Adam and Eve stepped forward, leaving behind the garden's comfort but carrying within them the light of understanding. Their journey would be filled with lessons, discoveries, and challenges, yet it would also be filled with love, hope, and the enduring presence of God. This is the story of humanity's first steps into the world, a story of learning, love, responsibility, and the infinite grace of God that continues to shine, even in the face of human imperfection. Thank you for listening to the second story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. The story in the next video will be the serpent's temptation and the first sin. Please share and subscribe to the channel to support me.